Hello, it's Jen Morgano from Card and Mum by Jen Morgano. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in North America from New York, Long Island. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be making this card using the Simply Succulent stamp set and the coordinating potted succulent dies. Really going to be focusing on some coloring today. So we're going to start off with a card base, basic white. I used thick for this one. It's going to be 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score it along 4.25 here on the long side. Then you're going to use your bone folder to give a nice crease on that. The DSP layer that we use is from the 6x6 Subtles package that came out this year in the annual catalog. I'm using the mint macaron color. So you're just going to cut that by 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, and we can start right away. Use some liquid glue and get that on the card front. Of course, I had to pick a liquid glue that is almost done. And that 5 3/8 and 4 by 1/8 is really going to give you a very tiny border. I like the way that looks. I use that a lot. Okay, we're going to be using 3 stamps from the set. It's going to be the succulent grouping. I'm going to use the pot. And then the sentiment of you make the ordinary extraordinary. So we're going to be using a Memento black on everything. You just use a scrap of basic white for the flowers and the plant. Okay, some nice lines on the stamp. Do you see me cover the ink like we don't have more to stamp? Okay. Then I'm going to take a scrap of soft succulent, which was in color from last year. So last year this guy will be around. Okay. Now I will cover this up. And we're going to cut these out using the coordinating dies. So we have this guy, and this nice label die that came with the set. But let's get coloring first. Did I put them away? Oh, do you hear my blends rolling away? They're square. They're not supposed to roll. For the pot, I'm actually using some from those new tones that came out in the fall, in the spring. I don't even remember. Oh, these are usually used for coloring skin tones. I'm not an expert colorer, so that kind of makes me nervous. I'm going to start with the 300, which is the darker color, and just kind of go along the edge here. What I like about that, it kind of looks like a hard line. If you used our regular Stampin' Write markers, you wouldn't be able to get rid of that line. But these blends, you kind of just keep coloring over and over and over, smooths that line out. Oops. You can keep going over and over to add more color, which is nice. Kind of won't ruin the paper. Sometimes if you use a marker, the regular markers, if you keep going over the same spot, it kind of makes the paper junky. Okay, now to get these colors, I'll show you. I used the Fresh Freesia combo around here with the blends. Then I went in with some mint macaron, the light mint macaron. Then I think I wash over it quick with a soft seafoam. Then I use some soft succulent around here. And then down here I use just a little bit of the shaded spruce, and then mint macaron. Okay, So I'm not going to color the whole thing in. Don't want to bore you, but just to give you an idea of how did that, I'll just color in this main succulent. And it doesn't have to be an exact thing. Remember, these are blends, so they kind of blend. I don't know why I pause for dramatic effect every time I say that. I'm searching my brain for another word to use, and really blend is kind of the one to use. And they come both with a brush tip and a smaller tip, depending on what you're coloring in there. Remember, if you don't like the lines you see, you can keep kind of going over, and it'll smooth that kind of harsh line out. Okay. Just kind of going to go around a little bit with this little mint macaron. This is the dark mint macaron out of the combo blend there. And I'm going to come in with the light and kind of go over everything. Just going to really smooth that out so it's not such a harsh line. If you want to add a little bit more, do a little darker color, you can come back in. If you want to lighten it up, you can come back in. You get the idea. Okay, so again, I used fresh freesia, mint macaron, soft succulent, light seafoam, and then the light color of the shaded spruce combo. Okay. And through the magic of video, I've already cut them out. So let's just go ahead and put that together. Okay, good. Little trick, as it happens, we're dealing with this right now. You know, when you use all your full-size dimensionals, what do you do? What do you do with the sheet? I like to cut them into little spots and use them. I mean, they're going to be on the back of an image, so no one's going to notice them anyway. We're going to pop this succulent grouping up with some dimensionals. I like to go around the outside and then a few in the middle. Some people say I use too much. I just don't like any of my images that I'm popping up to sag in the middle. That's why those adhesive foam sheets are great too if you want the whole thing to be a solid popped item. And what you're going to do is find where you want the card. Oh, jeez. I look at something and I say the word. Find where you want those to be and just stick them down. And I do this first because I kind of glue this down, and it's easier to glue this down instead of, like, if I glued it over here, then this would be hanging off the edge. You want to make sure that your flowers are nice front and center. And also too, I guess, kind of make sure you don't have too many dimensionals right up to the edge. Okay, a little liquid glue on that. And just sneak them up in here. Perfect. Okay. Dimensionals for our sentiment. And what I'm going to do is just put a little dab of glue down here because this is going to end up... After this video, I will be getting a new glue for my workstation. Just going to put a little bit of glue on this edge because it's going to be over here. So if I put a dimensional on that, it's going to be really high. So we'll just have dimensionals over here where it's going to be flat on the card, and then the glue for on top of the already raised succulent. Ta-da! We're going to finish the card off with these 2021-23 in color opal rounds. I'm using the evening evergreen because I think it just pops a little bit nice. And I guess we can use one soft succulent. Okay. So there you have it. The stamp set does have some other cute succulent images, these small guys. If you wanted to stamp on the inside, that's certainly something you can do. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you like what you see. If you did, please subscribe. If you have any ideas for projects that you'd like to see, please drop those in the comments. I'd love to make what you want to watch. I've put a link to the blog post that has a little bit more written out details for this card, and also the links to the products I've used. Thank you. Have a great day.